Welcome. I would like to personally welcome you to my presentation today, Succeeding Through Career and Life While Breaking Free from Intrusive Thoughts and Anxiety. 5 Breakthroughs to Peace of Mind. I use slides and bullet points to make sure I keep track of every single point. It's very important that I don't forget anything. I've thoughtfully put together this presentation in order to help you break through some of the barriers to your recovery and to your peace of mind and get you on track to succeeding in life and your career again. I would like you to know that I understand there are 2 very serious pains happening at the same time here. 1, the intrusive thoughts and the emotional pain and the physical pain that's coming from the intrusive thoughts and the anxiety. And then second, dealing with how this impacts on your career and your life and any fears of failure that you might have, or fears that everything's going to fall apart or you're going to do something really bad that is going to destroy the rest of your life, basically. Without further ado, let's make sure you're in the right place. This is for anyone who suffers from obsessively thinking harm thoughts, violent thoughts, sinful sexual thoughts, bad religious thoughts, catastrophic thoughts, and scary thoughts, and who has a high demand, high pressure life that they absolutely must succeed in at the same time. If you are searching for a path to peace of mind and that keeps your goals alive, then this is for you. In the next 45 minutes, we're going to talk about how you can initiate unbelievably positive outcomes while you're dealing with one of the most demoralizing and shameful crises you'll ever face. How your efforts to get rid of your thoughts and feelings are having the opposite effect. How you can get your life back on track faster and with less suffering than I did. Also, how you can spot the advice that may be actually making you feel worse. And what has to be in your current treatment program to ensure you get the outcome you want. So my promise to you today is a step-by-step process to achieve this peace of mind, freedom, personal achievement, and finally break free from your worst fears. But first, we need to cover the disclaimer because I'm not a doctor. You need to see a doctor to make sure you don't have any other serious medical conditions, and your doctor knows you best. No amazing coping techniques, magic pills, funky mind tricks, woo-woo, or easy way outs are going to be presented to you today. Truth is, there are no schemes, no easy way outs. It's a process. And to say there would be schemes or easy way outs would simply be unethical. Recovery does depend on how much healing your body needs and how long it takes for you to grasp the principles I wholeheartedly believe must be part of your solution. And I'm going to go through those today. And to build belief, starting today if you haven't, that you can get your life back and end up better off than ever. Before we go too much further, let's take a moment to check in with you. Do you feel deeply afraid you could lose it and do something crazy? Do you lie awake wondering how you can get through tomorrow safely without anything going wrong, without conflict, without making weak decisions, or anyone seeing through you, seeing what's going on with you, and how you're going to get through tomorrow without a nervous breakdown, snapping, or doing something crazy that's going to create an embarrassment for you, your family. It's going to make you unfit for promotion. People are going to see you as a sicko, brand you forever. These are major, major concerns that we have. Do you preoccupy yourself with questions like, am I a monster? Will this last forever? How do I make it stop? Are you constantly analyzing what you're thinking and judge and criticize yourself for what you're thinking? Do you worry that you're just on this side of a physical and mental collapse and that this is just a personal failure on your part? And are you sick and tired of it all and just wish it would all go away? And I want to assure you that though these sound like they are really, really bad problems, they aren't the real problem. So this is the good news. The real problem is you haven't made these shifts or these breakthroughs that I'm going to present to you today. Okay? And once you make them, You start to see that you can get through this, and you feel rejuvenated, excited, thrilled, knowing that you aren't cursed forever and that you can have peace of mind. You can go to a favorite quiet place and enjoy a moment of peace without fearful thoughts, images, sayings, phobias, and worries ruining your moment. And if you've ever gone someplace to relax, someplace in nature, someplace peaceful, where you thought, oh, this is going to help me with my peace of mind, it's going to help me rest and relax and de-stress, and this is all going away. And then you find out that it doesn't, and it backfires because you're just doing more thinking, and you have this opportunity without distractions just to have your mind going and going and going and thinking about all the bad things that must be happening and what the heck has happened to me. And get close to people, the children, the people you love, because you're not holding this tight grip on yourself and contracting because you're afraid if you get too close to people, you might hurt them or touch them in the wrong way or say something. Whatever your intrusive thought is, it's easier to stay away from people and keep your distance because you're afraid of what you might do. You can bravely sit in church, the office, the boardroom, your child's school play, grandchild's school play, without planning your escape route or how you're going to act if your brain goes on a temper tantrum. How many times have you been somewhere where you're looking for, I'm going to sit closer to the door so I can get out of here? Or how am I going to keep myself together so no one sees what's going on in my mind while I'm chairing our meeting or if I'm in a large group of people? So imagine the day when you don't have to think like that anymore. Also, wouldn't it be nice to go to work with a clear mind, thinking about accomplishing, welcoming whatever problems that arise in the course of a day? Imagine that, going back to just your normal worries, the worries you used to not want to have. Well, those are nothing compared to what you're dealing with today. And once you get back on the path to the peace of mind, you look forward to making big decisions that could have big payoffs instead of playing it safe and avoiding any chance that you're going to bring on more stress. Is that happening to you, where you're not wanting to do anything too potentially stressful because you don't want to tip the apple cart? And finally, your confidence, passion, motivation, enthusiasm, it all comes back. You're feeling the joy again, and you are finally back. That's exciting. Before we go too much further, let's just take a moment to talk about who I am. Go as quick as possibly can on that. My name is Derek. I'm a personal success coach. I'm dedicated to people who are in crisis and absolutely need to achieve and have an impact. I believe a person should not lose their dreams because of a temporary obstacle. I know intrusive thoughts intimately, certainly not by choice. No one grows up looking at this as a career choice, but this is the path that's laid out for me. And here I am today trying to serve you. I have a pretty good idea on how life goes. I've had a few setbacks myself. I did 25 years in a corporate career, demanding, stress, deadlines, and bottom line driven. I'm familiar with the Intrusive Thoughts community. 700 of you completed an Intrusive Thoughts survey, giving me a lot of insight on your condition, on your place in life, beyond just my own personal experience. I've had over 2,000 people download a document that I called Real Stories by Real People and Natural Ways to Heal Your Anxiety. And finally, I do volunteer work. Poverty, the focus of my volunteer work. A lot of people need a hand up. This is what I'm trying to do to help the people in my community. Okay, how did we get to where we are today? Let's talk about the story of my 5 shifts. So what happened is probably a similar story to yours. Intrusive thoughts struck me like a bolt of lightning. Out of the blue, they just crushed me. All the crazy thinking, the panic, the stress, the worries that I could be this monster and do what my thoughts said. So I went months and months and months suffering from this, thinking that I could take care of myself and figure it out on my own because I didn't want to share it with anybody. It's too shameful. I researched, I investigated, I did everything I possibly can to learn as much as I can in order to find that magic key that's going to unlock my brain or unlock the gate to this prison that I'm in, and then everything was going to be fine in the morning. Eventually, I conceded that I couldn't do it myself. So I worked up the courage and I got some help. So between getting some help and everything that I learned on my own, you put it all together, I was able to start feeling better. And I began noticing, and it's in hindsight, I began noticing that there were these almost like steps that I had to take. Almost had to hit this one level before the next door opened, It's a process to recover and to keep your act together at work at the same time, and to keep your life together so no one thinks that anything is going on with you, and be a dad, homeowner, boss, etc., etc. Basically, there are 5 key insights that I want to share with you today. So in summary, there are 5 key breakthroughs you must have to move from fear, where your ability to function at your best is really handicapped. It's costing you opportunity, connection with the people you love, and making you wonder if you've gone crazy. 2, getting back in control and achieving peace of mind and freedom, which is what we all want, isn't it? So I'm going to walk you through all 5 of them right now. The first one is grounding the monkey mind, where your mind is doing acrobatics, swinging through the trees, mental gymnastics, all the questions, all these beliefs, these thoughts, they're racing through your mind. They are definitely derailing any opportunity at peace of mind. They're just having a good old time at your expense. So this is why I call the first breakthrough grounding the monkey mind, because we want to give the monkey mind a little nap. Let's settle it down, even if it's briefly, even if it's just for the rest of this presentation. I know you just can't tell your mind to settle down. It's not going to happen. So if anything, there are a couple of points that may help you slow things down, even if it's briefly. So you see, when we believe these thoughts and these beliefs and these questions that are rattling around in our brain, it just adds more stress, more pressure. It makes things more intense, especially when you believe they might be true. Because sometimes they feel so real. It is very, very difficult to get peace of mind and have joy when you have this going on. And some examples are, have I gone crazy? Or I'm stuck with this forever. I'm untreatable. My dreams are crushed. If I'm thinking it, it must be true. I must want to do this if I'm thinking it. It must be true. I wonder if I could unconsciously lose control and do it. So whether your intrusive thought is a phobia, or it's something that you're going to say, or it's something that you're going to do, you wonder if you could just unconsciously lose control and do it. And the last one, and it's not the last one, I'm simply naming 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All of these could flash through your brain in a split second. This is a failure. Feeling like a failure because you're having, there's this stigma about mental issues. And you feel like you failed, you did something wrong, because you must have. If you can't think straight, there must be something wrong with me. So this is all part of the monkey mind. But it gets worse because we have other people saying things, and we're believing what they're saying, or we're at least considering what they're saying. How about, just relax? Really? Don't you think I'm trying? You can make them stop. Now, people might not be saying these to you because you're not sharing with them, but you're also searching online looking for answers and maybe bouncing around from idea to idea. And you bounced here, so hopefully this is your last bounce where we can get you on the right path. You are what you think. Are you kidding me? I think I'm a monster. I can't believe that. You can do whatever you set your mind to. That's the last thing I need to hear right now, isn't it? Or the doctors, they want to do another test. That's what they're supposed to do. But what it really says is there must be something wrong with me. And it's just anxiety. Usually people that don't understand anxiety are really difficult to talk to, because if they haven't had it before, they just don't get it. There's one slight truth on the previous page, and that's it. And It's not that you just have anxiety. It's that you have anxiety symptoms. It's the anxiety symptoms. These thoughts are anxiety symptoms. The questions, the beliefs, the weird and crazy thoughts, they are symptoms of anxiety. So you are not crazy. You are not all this mental nonsense. And anxiety disorders are solvable. So when you understand that, that helps you with the rumination, and it helps you ground the monkey mind, because there's an answer to all of these thousands of questions that are going through your brain. So you see, symbolically, those monkeys are on the ground. Well, when monkeys are on the ground, it's because they're feeling safe. Sure, they're always on alert for dangers in the jungle, but they are feeling safe because they don't have an imminent threat. This is how I would like you to feel, is that you don't have an imminent threat. So don't believe the upsetting thoughts, questions when they show up. Recognize they are symptoms of anxiety, which is the playground for the monkey mind. Having a grand old time while you are suffering. Okay. How does all that sound? We're at the end of my first shift, so how does all that sound? I'll keep the slide up for a couple of seconds just so that you can process that point. Okay, number 2. Say no to mind control. Sound interesting? Trying to control your mind and tell it what not to think is making your condition worse. Okay? Does this make any sense in any way? Studies show that thought suppression efforts and techniques are very ineffective ways to deal with unwanted thoughts. So by pushing things away, you're making things worse because you're making them stick more and come back to you more. It's almost like throwing a boomerang. You throw it out and it comes back to you. So if you can learn to give up this little tug of war, this little war you're having with yourself, you will start finding peace. It's really difficult when you're trying to control your mind. It's like a little turf war you're having with yourself. So when you can say no to mind control and stop trying to control your mind, you can call off the search. This is part of it. So you're searching for that one thing that's going to set your mind right, and it'll all be okay in the morning. That's exactly what I did. You search and search and search, looking for this one thing that's going to make sense of everything. You can stop doing that if you concede that you're not going to have this tug of war with your mind anymore. Trying to force your mind to behave the way you want sets your recovery period back by weeks or months. So what I mean is you might be having this fight for weeks or for months. So all this time is being wasted when instead you could be working on your process to getting recovered, which does not include fighting with your mind. Problem is you so badly want to cure that you think all you have to do is keep trying to make your mind think a certain way. It's almost like you're trying to force it to think a certain way. If I keep repeating this thought or image that's better than the one that's coming to me automatically, then eventually I'm going to make the symptoms go away. Eventually I'm going to retrain or reprogram my brain to think the way I want it to think. But there are studies that say this isn't true. Particularly, you may have heard of this one. Participants were asked to not think of white bears for 5 minutes. Well, what do you think happened? You can try this yourself if you haven't tried it already. Do it after the presentation, but set your timer for 5 minutes and tell yourself not to think of white bears. I don't think you have to do it. I think you know what's going to happen. You're doing this to yourself right now. It's just not white bears. You're telling yourself not to think whatever horrible, disgusting, ugly thoughts crossing your mind. And the second one is attempts to replace bad thoughts with new positive thoughts, which I mentioned just a couple of minutes ago. But there are studies that show people who are trying to replace bad thoughts with new positive thoughts, that doesn't work either. So please don't latch on to any advice that suggests You'll try this technique and your scary thoughts can be pushed away or replaced and then made to stay away. It isn't going to work for you. Okay, does any of this make sense at all? I hope it does. I'll leave it for a couple of seconds before I go on to the next breakthrough. I really want to give you every chance to try to absorb the points that I'm making and not just race through it. Number 3. This is a biggie. A new relationship with fear. What does that mean, you ask? So if you want to get your life back, you have to change your relationship with fear. If I could give you an analogy, it's like somebody who repels you right now and you don't want anything to do with them, to have a change of heart and embrace them. And that's hard to do, isn't it? But this is what I'm asking you to do. If you can do this, you will firmly plant your feet on the path to peace of mind. It's not easy, it's a process, but if you can do this, you can get out of your head, out of the overwhelm, out of the torment that you're in, and get back in charge of your life and achieving your dreams. Okay? If I'm sounding serious about this, it's because I am. So we're going to take this really slowly. And I'm going to repeat myself. If you want to get your life back, you have to change your relationship with fear. This is the shortest path to recovery and out of the nightmare you are in now. You want to go from avoiding the crazy thoughts, the scary thoughts, to embracing them. And if you can do that, or when you can do that, I should say, you can get out of your head, out of the overwhelm, out of the torment, and back in charge and achieving your dreams. But the way most people go about recovering from intrusive thoughts and anxiety is not good enough. And that must be true if there are so many people who continue to suffer. So let's see if we can put some perspective on what I'm saying here. Here's what we normally do. We start by making a doctor's appointment. The doctor will interview us and ask us a lot of great questions and possibly do some tests, especially to make sure there's nothing else seriously wrong with you. So if the tests and the interview lead to a diagnosis of anxiety and or OCD, then several possibilities open up. And it could be any of these. It's not just one. You could be referred to another mental health specialist. There are various therapy options, pharmaceuticals, medicine, and then of course there are stress reduction techniques. A lot of possibilities open up. And here are just a few. Deep breathing, meditation, guided visuals, yoga, medicine, the antidepressants, medicine, the tranquilizers, herbal medicines, gratitude, dietary changes, exercise, body relaxation activities. Plus there are several therapies including cognitive behavioral therapy, exposure response therapy, talk therapy, reading therapy. Then I've heard of brain stimulation, psychosurgery. You could be seeing a doctor, psychiatrist, a therapist, a counselor, a pastor, spending a lot of time on Dr. Google, and much, much more. There's so many doors that have opened for you. But there's something missing, isn't there? To me, there must be. So when you decide it's time, that enough is enough, you've had enough of living like this, you're ready to go through what you have to get to the other side of this, then you need to introduce this missing ingredient. Your approach has to include a process that helps you become unafraid. Okay? You need to learn how to do this, and it takes practice. If you're saying, hey, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this therapy, or I'm going to take this medicine, or I'm going to do this exercise because it's going to help them go away, that's not being unafraid. That's being afraid. Do you see what I mean? So every time you exercise, every time you take a med, every time you're searching for a solution online, every time you're taking more tests to see what's wrong with you, You're doing all this with the intention of getting rid of them, to making it stop. But this is fear-based. You're not being unafraid. This is why I say that you need to have a become unafraid process incorporated into your recovery program. Okay, let me repeat that on the slide, point by point. Until you learn how to become unafraid and build a process into your recovery program, ... you'll keep coping and hoping and secretly telling yourself, I hope this helps them go away. This is the opposite of becoming unafraid. You might not have realized this. Every time you exercise, take a med, search online for a solution, take another test to see what's wrong with you, if you are making these efforts with the intention of getting rid of them or stopping them, then you're acting on a fear basis. You will continue to live in this nightmare, hoping it all doesn't fall apart on you and worried that you'll eventually lose it. As time goes on, you might become more worried and more worried that this isn't going away, and you start to lose hope. And that could lead to other problems. So your new relationship with fear, it really comes down to incorporating a become unafraid process. What happens is you address your fear of the thoughts, your fear of the fear, and the obsessive thinking and the scary thoughts start to fade away, and they do so forever because you're not afraid anymore. So this, my friends, is your way out. This gets you on the path to peace of mind. When you learn to become unafraid, you speed up your recovery process. You're stronger, more successful, more resilient than ever, and you're making a difference in the world. You've been to a place of massive fear. You've faced it. You've conquered it. You've returned stronger. You're more confident, more brave. You're ready for something greater. And I'm talking in the past tense. This is what's in store for you once you make this shift. And I also want to say, continue with the healthy choices. If you're exercising, practicing gratitude, and you're eating healthy, etc., of course, we need to keep doing that. I'm simply saying, if you're doing these things thinking, oh, I'm going to take this, I'm going to do this to get rid of them, then that's not becoming unafraid. But just know that your treatment and your recovery efforts don't work on their own. You need to add a process to become unafraid. Okay, let's do a quick recap, make a little shift in our state right now because I was kind of serious about that. So let's shake things up a little bit. So far we've talked about the monkey mind, the many questions, myths, making you question who you are, making you more afraid. Once you realize in your heart you have anxiety symptoms and they are treatable, you've broken through a major barrier to your recovery. And that trying to control your thoughts is making everything worse, which is also a major barrier to your recovery. And why finding a way to become unafraid is the big step towards getting your life back on track. So that's what we've covered so far. So next, we want to talk about how all these have an impact on your life and your career. There are still 2 more breakthroughs for me to cover. All this is part and parcel of the big picture, isn't it? If we've had these 3 breakthroughs, we can get to talking about how we can steer ourselves towards promotion and advancement while dealing with the intrusive thoughts and anxiety at the same time. This isn't all about dealing with the fears. We also need to grow and progress and not lose sight of our dreams and the things we want to do in life because of this. We want to continue moving forward, and we can. And the next breakthrough we need to talk about is called work less for more success. If you're working harder, it's adding to your overwhelm. You might be thinking that if you push yourself, you're going about it the right way. But this isn't your fault. It's what we've been programmed to believe. We've grown up thinking, the price of success is hard work. Hard work pays off. Be proactive. No pain, no gain. No rest for the weary. See, we've been conditioned for this. So let's take a moment on that. Like I say, it's not your fault because this is what we've grown up with. And for the achievers, this is truly what you believe. And you know what makes this tougher is there's proof. We've had success in the past doing these things. But right now, it's time to put those aside. Right now, we need to work strategically. We need to work strategically and not just push ourselves like crazy to try to get ahead in life. That could be a part of why you are in the situation that you're in, from pushing yourself at your career for so long and so hard and with so many pressures and stresses to deal with. If you were wearing mantras such as take the bull by the horns, like a badge of honor, you could be derailing yourself. It's like, if I could use the boat analogy, because doesn't that look beautiful? That's Mackinac Island. No, that's the view from Mackinac Island towards St. Ignace in Michigan. So it's like fighting against waves. If you're on a boat and you're pushing against the waves, they're pushing you back. The motor's not getting you very far. It's very slow. And you start worrying about whether you're going to capsize. You're looking at every wave and making sure you hit it the right way so that it doesn't come over the bow of the boat and sink you. When you're navigating these waves, you know, your focus is on survival. It's not on being successful, it's on survival. So if you're focused on simply surviving, you're not focused on succeeding. And you're getting stressed out, and stress grows, and now you're not succeeding, and you're having problems at work and challenges, and you don't know how to deal with them, and you're scared to deal with them. And then we're making the waves bigger, aren't we? The waves that are issues that we already have from the anxiety and the scary thinking and the problems keeping our life together at home, etc. So what happens is we're losing focus on our career priorities, and we're making more mistakes, and we're taking more shortcuts, and we're making riskier out of character moves. And these are the kinds of things that get us in trouble. And put all that together with these other conditions that potentially are negatively affecting your performance. How many of these boxes can you tick off? Anxiety affects performance. Intrusive thoughts affects performance. Fatigue, exhaustion, lack of clarity, shiny object syndrome. All this could be happening when you're dealing with intrusive thoughts, the anxiety at work. And who wants this? So I'd like to say that for you right now, working your butt off, nose to the grindstone, is not productive for you. It's actually pushing you back like these giant waves. To use another water analogy, have you ever swam with your clothes on? You know, it's hard to tread water. It's hard to move forward. You can't float. And in your world of demands and pressures and fears and need to stay in control, that's just not a formula for success. It's a myth if you think you can hustle your way out of your current situation. Let's not take the bull by the horns, but instead steer in the right direction. Okay, so just to repeat, it's time to slow down a little bit. It's time to take care of yourself a little bit. Slow down, and I'm saying that you can get further ahead by slowing down and working more strategically. Okay, now it's time for the final breakthrough. The final breakthrough for today. It's what I finally had to do myself. Invest in coaching. Everyone should have an experienced mentor. If what you are doing is not getting you where you want to be, or possibly making you more stressed and exhausted, maybe it's time for a different approach. For example, today's presentation may have generated new ideas and concepts that you want to explore further. And when you invest in coaching, here's what happens. I have 3 ways of categorizing how it works. 1, under the education umbrella, you're going to get help demystifying what's happened to you. You're going to get help answering the thousands of questions that are ruminating in your mind. And this is going to calm that ruminating mind because you don't have the questions anymore. Success coaching. This is what we're talking about today. You're going to get new perspectives that are going to lead to better results. You're going to get new direction. You're going to have someone there to help you face your fears and discomforts. You're going to get guidance, and you're going to get help shown where to focus so that you can go from point A to point B. You can end up better off than where you were. I was able to have some of the greatest successes of my career as I was coming out of the intrusive thoughts anxiety condition. And, seriously important, cautionary insights. You're going to be given a heads up on the pitfalls and traps hitting on the path of peace of mind. You're going to minimize surprises and blindsides. And this is so important, folks. When you have setbacks and you thought you were getting ahead and you have been set back and it hit you by surprise, you may lose all the progress you made by thinking that there's no way you can possibly get out of this. This is very, very hard to deal with. And ultimately, you're going to learn the tools you need to become your own therapist, because once you get through this, you're going to know how to get through this, and you're not going to have fears like you have today. You're going to be bigger, stronger than ever, and when stresses and pressures in life build up, you'll never come back to this spot again. All this is designed to help you fast track your recovery process. Our goal is to put you into a position to succeed, and you get accountability so you don't run too far, because your anxiety mind is not going to want you to just forget about these things that are scaring the wits out of you. It's going to have a temper tantrum, but if you have support, it's going to help you get through that. And a comfortable environment where you can speak without feeling shamed. The number one reason why I wouldn't go get help is because I was so shamed, and I'm going to be talking to somebody about it that probably has never ever had this experience in their life before. And let's talk about costs for a second. You could be spending $200 or more a month on books, audio programs, medicines, natural remedies, vitamins, stress relievers, teas, a host of other products, all designed to relax you. Right now, you could be paying a price for average performance. Maybe you've turned down promotions or commissions because it's not a good time right now, or because you don't want to run any risks, meaning you don't want to stress yourself out and run into any more problems than you have right now. And what about your social life? Are you staying away from people out of shame and guilt because of the content of your thoughts? Are you missing out on precious family time? Like, what's family life going to look like when you're through this? I'm sure it has to look better than it does today. And if you can successfully deal with all this fearful thinking, your anxiety, navigate the workplace, and do it without support, that's a significant accomplishment. But you don't have to go it alone. Find the best mentor for you and spend what it takes to work with them. Okay, today I promised how you can improve your performance and initiate an unbelievably positive outcome in your career and life, even while you are dealing with one of the most demoralizing crises you'll ever face. How your get rid of efforts may be having the opposite effect. How you can find the path to peace of mind quicker than I did. How you can identify advice that actually fuels your anxiety. So the next time you're searching online, to be more careful of what you look at, what you take seriously. And the big one, what must be included in your current treatment program so you can do everything in your power to successfully recover and get your life back. I really hope you believe this is possible. And finally, a step-by-step process to peace of mind, freedom, and achieving your personal goals all at the same time. This is ultimately what we want. So what you need to succeed? First, ground the monkey mind. Second, no more mind control. Third, a new relationship with fear. 4, work less for more success. 5, invest in coaching. These 5 shifts or breakthroughs alone are enough to help you get your feet firmly planted on the path to peace of mind, which means escaping the fearful thinking and continuing your hopes of personal success alive. And now you have a choice. You can either take the information I've given you and toss it in the big old circular file. You can continue to search for that one thing, those magic words, or that special mental technique that will unlock the gate and set you free from your mind prison, like I spent months doing. You can keep trying to find a way out of the emotional pain, the scary physical bodily symptoms, the overwhelmed brain, the fear of failure, until you get fed up and realize enough is enough. Or if you want to put yourself in a position to succeed without further delay and really transform your life, give yourself the tools to be your own therapist and never fall victim to fear again, where you can move towards freedom and impact that you wanted your whole life, but really seems to be out of reach right now. If that's what you don't want to wait for another day longer than you have to, then here's what I have for you. I've set aside some time in the next 72 hours to speak to you confidentially about how you can apply these ideas in your life starting today. I want you to know that whatever your biggest challenge is, I may have a unique perspective that shows you a path out that others may not have. And in this conversation, I will work with you to craft your step-by-step recovery/success plan that you can pursue on your own, or you can work with me at a higher level. I'll walk you through your greatest, scariest fears and challenges so you can achieve peace of mind and come out of this in a better position than you were ever in before. The cost for the phone call, there's no investment necessary. I may invite you to an 8-week training coaching program, but only if I think I can help you. Otherwise, I will still do my very best to honor you and serve you. Regardless, do my best to help you. Why am I doing this, you might be asking? It seems like I have to. Seriously, it just seems like I have to. It'd be much easier for me to just run away from this and never look back and not want to go here again. But I can't. It's like this has been placed on my heart. There are too many people suffering for just too long, and people's hopes and dreams are suffering. I really don't like to see people suffering. Plus, I know you might want me to assist you with your personal transformation at a higher level. If so, we can discuss it and see if it's a good fit for both of us. And if it's not, that's fine too. We'll still be friends. Let's go over who this call is for. First of all, we want to make sure you don't have any other diagnosis, no other physical ailment or med that may be responsible for anxiety-like symptoms. Also, if you're committed enough that you're willing to go out of your comfort zone, because you're going to have to, even though this is sometimes not easy, if it was, so many people wouldn't be suffering. You have to make that decision. You must be serious about achieving your personal goals. Driven, committed, resourceful. You're the type of person that I can really communicate with. If this is you, feel free to check my calendar now. And you can do that at stopintrusivethoughts.com/apply. Leave this slide up for a second so that you can get a pen if you need one. But hopefully you've taken a lot of great notes anyway. stopintrusivethoughts.com/apply. Appointments are limited, not just saying that. I have a busy career, busy life. Please sign up now. Confidentiality is guaranteed. I understand that people from all walks of life have this condition. Beyond that, I appreciate that you stayed till the end, and I hope I made a difference in your life.